So, free agency was fine this year, right? Houston did some very nice business. LeBron got the chance to make it all about him. Minnesota managed to retain core pieces on the cheap. Not bad. Still, can't help but feel like this free agent season pales in comparison to the likes of 2019, aka the Kawhi Paul George Clipper year, 2016, Durant to the Warriors, or 2010, the rise of the Heatles. All of those summers featured league-shaking signings by star players jumping ship to new teams. And that doesn't happen anymore. So what happened to NBA free agency? Let's find out. First, some background. Prior to the mid-1970s, NBA contracts contained a reserve clause. I touched on this in my NFL free agency video, but basically, a team retained the right to sign a player even after his contract expired. The only way they could leave was via trade, massively repressing their right to move or negotiate for a higher salary. In 1970, Players Association President Oscar Robertson, yes, that one, filed suit against the league to prevent a merger with the ABA. Basically, with two competing leagues, players had options. Even if you were bound to a team in the NBA, you could use leaving for the ABA as leverage to break free. If the two were to merge, the NBA would have a monopoly on professional basketball and fully prevent player movement, thereby violating the Sherman Antitrust Act. That year, the Southern District of New York issued an injunction, delaying a merger. But Oscar was coming for it all. For the draft, for the reserve clause, for free agency, for everything. Nowadays, Oscar kinda gets a bad rap for being one of these old players who just likes to rag on the new generation, but he's directly responsible for creating so much of the freedom that our players today have. In April 1976, the two sides settled. The NBA kept the draft and their merger, but the reserve clause was history. Some big players made big jumps as a result, but many other superstars didn't. So what happened? Well, because it often made more sense to stay with their original team. Nowadays, we kind of know everything about star player salaries. Max deals are fixed based on incentives, accolades, and seniority. Contracts are capped at 4 to 5 years. Raises peak at 8%. But back in the day, it was the Wild West. You had teams signing 12, 15, even 25-year extensions. Why? Well, why wouldn't you? It kind of worked for everybody. The player got guaranteed life-changing money in an era of shorter careers and smaller paychecks. The agent got solid commissions, and the owner got to lock in a key player at a fixed salary even as the market around them continued to increase. This is why Scottie Pippen's contract got so much attention in The Last Dance. He signed a longer deal in the early 90s to take care of his family. By the end of the decade, a once-savvy move made him look like a sucker. So what changed? Well, after a series of lockouts and CBA changes, the league put a stop to these super long contracts. What happened a lot was players would sign these massive 7-year deals, then check out, put on weight, and stop caring. It's why the 2000s saw the standard of play slide so much. With the shorter deals of today, guys hit the market more consistently and have to remain in top condition to keep getting paid. Imagine if Ben Simmons or Zion signed an 8-year deal. We'd never hear the end of it. This does seem like a bit of a raw deal for the players, mostly because it is. Still, some players embraced free agency because, again, it gives them negotiating power against ownership. If you don't like management, you can bail and another team will gladly take your services and offer the same deal you could get with your original team. The 2010s became the decade of free agency. LeBron and Durant bounced from team to team, working out very well for one and not so great for the other. The high watermark of free agency, in my opinion, was from 2014 to 2020. Summer after summer after summer, we got earth-shattering news stories. You had teams clearing cap space and signing expiring deals in the hopes of having enough space to sign the next class of star free agents. It's something we don't really see anymore. Cap space just doesn't matter that much. And for the most part, I think it was a historical anomaly rising out of the 2016 CBA. During those negotiations, the Players Union insisted that the cap increase brought by a newly signed media rights deal should come all at once rather than being divvied up over the next couple seasons. That's why the cap was $70 million in 2015-16 and over $94 million the following year. That was the summer highlighted by Kevin Durant signing with the Golden State Warriors. That summer also featured some of the worst free agent signings we've ever seen, because there were a lot of teams who thought they had Durant, and then they didn't, and they had to spend their money somewhere. So with that, why have we entered a dormant free agent period? Well, because the best players never actually hit the open market. Giannis and Tatum and SGA and Jokic have never entertained free agency because they've all been locked up under long-term extensions. That means both their original teams and their potential suitor lack the cap room to take on a new max salary. With this, we should expect to see less player movement, but we haven't. So what gives? While free agency might be dead, pre-agency is alive and well. What's that? Well, I really wish I knew who invented the term. I want to say it was Ryan Russillo. I'm a big fan of his pod, but I'm not 100% sure. If you do know, please leave a comment. But basically, pre-agency is where a player sits out while under contract in order to secure a move. You get to move where you want, but you never have to be out of contract. Kawhi Leonard was the innovator with his move out of San Antonio in 2018. James Harden's done it, ditto Durant. Jimmy Bucket does it every other year at this point. Stars can secure a desirable trade through their agents and can win the PR battle via social media. Back in the day, we wouldn't get the player's side of the story. All we would have is the local reporter mostly getting information from the team. Now, a guy like Jimmy Butler can do a media tour, do a lot of interviews, and keep people on his side. As a result, most teams will extend star players because losing them for pennies and draft picks is much better than losing them for nothing. I also think there's a bit of a cultural difference that has led to the decline of free agency. LeBron and Durant were the highest profile players of their generation. They used the market to their advantage. The stars of today, the guys I was talking about before, Tatum, Giannis, SGA, Joker, none of them have hit the market because it's not how they're wired. And because of that, the guys below them aren't wired that way either. So yeah, that's why NBA free agency fell off. At the end of the day, it's just reading a bunch of Shams tweets and complaining about the apron. But still, as I said with the NFL video, the teams that know the rules are the teams that dominate. The second apron has forced a lot of GMs to get smarter. Good guys aren't getting great money anymore. That's why we saw guys like Jabari Smith, Julius Randle, James Harden. They didn't get their max. The market has changed for everyone. Well, almost everyone. Toronto's just going to do their own thing, I guess.